Why are there not more people talking about Shambhala, the so-called scented city hidden deep inside the earth? What if the stories of monsters and lost civilizations aren't just fairy tales? Beneath the earth's crust, legends say there's a sprawling realm called Shambhala, the capital of the world below, where the air is sweet with mystical scents. Some call it Agartha, some say it's hell, but it's far from just fire and brimstone. Down there, ancient texts whisper of the Deros, creatures hatched from massive eggs with glowing eyes, long noses, and a serious grudge against humans. Then there's the Teros, a more agreeable bunch who try to keep peace. Think of them as the underworld's hall monitors. And don't forget the Duanis, the original leprechauns and gnomes, whose strange genes might just explain a few mysteries topside. From Egyptian boatmen to Aztec lords of the dead, nearly every culture hints at this hidden world. Are these just stories, or have we only scratched the surface? Literally. So, next time you feel the ground tremble, ask yourself, what's really living beneath your feet? Shambhala is the capital of the biggest subterranean world. This great Shambhala gets its name from Shama, which means scent, and Allah, meaning the most beautiful sense of Allah. A trait of those beings who visit or who dwell in Shambhala is that their bodies carry distinctive sweet scents. It's a scent of the presence of Allah. Shambhala has been called many things. The Haitians call on a cobra deity of wisdom and fertility named Damballa. The most common term, as taught by the malevolent beings, is hell. Thus the term "O hell," or hello, a common greeting of the Satanists, simply meaning hell is low. When "O hell" is used in the Torah, it's for a tent, or it is in reference to the sacred tent of Jehovah, a tabernacle. You find the word "O hell," they are the sacred tents of Yahuwah. The sacred tabernacle refers to the inner city called Shambhala or Agartha. Fear not, for in your secular teachings you have been taught also of Shambhala. Yet it was called hell, where the wicked will go to be tormented by malicious evil beings called demons overseered by Satan, the father of evil, a word found in the Torah as evil, ve, and means a despiser of wisdom, a quarrelsome person, a being without morals. Or in the case of the Islamic world, it's Malik. The fact that subterranean worlds exist is quite ancient. In all of the ancient teachings of the Egyptians, Zhou Aztecs, Hindus, Mayans, and Japanese are legends of the existence of the underworld. In the Egyptian Book of the Dead, a strange boatman had charge of the souls of the dead. The boat would either transport the human soul up into the region of the stars, or if the soul needed more basic training or possibly more discipline, the boatman would pilot the souls along the river Styx, and this river led deep down into the interior of the earth. Many of the chambers of the pyramids lead to the inner world. In the small village of Kasalpala in the year 1902 AD, workmen who were figging a well literally fell into the earth. What they discovered was the outer room of the Maltese cave entrance. Since the well was to be dug for a house which was on the main street named Hypogeum of Hal Saflienti, named after the street beneath in which it was discovered. A hypogeum is the Latin name for an underground structure. Later, this series of underground rooms were discovered to have been located in the middle of an ancient Neolithic village. From the construction of the entrance stones, it is now assumed that at certain times, a human sacrifice was chained before the entrance. The entrance of the walls and ceilings of some of the passageways and rooms have been found to be decorated with red ochre and primitive art designs. However, when first discovered, the three caves were crammed with as many as 30,000 skeletons of men, women, and children. In South and Central America, as well as Mexico, the ancient people did acknowledge the existence of subterranean caves, chambers, or tunnels. The Zhou Aztecs of Mexico have faith that, just as there are 13 heavens, sometimes 9 or 12, there are 9 subterrestrial levels through which the deceased must pass before reaching the underworld, Mictlan, land of the dead, also called Chicanamictlan, 9th place of the dead. The Lord in this underworld is Mictlantecutli, * the Lord of the dead. How true this hell is, for it is within one of the caverns of the planet Earth called Sheol. The Greeks call it Hades, the ancient Egyptians call Umduat, where disagreeable humans are sentenced into the malicious hands of gargoyles and leprechauns, headed by a great reptilian who wears the name Satan. You have been taught by religion that hell is somewhere down there. It has also been referred to as a sort of in-between place known as purgatory or limbo for souls. And neither of these words can be found in the scriptures, of which they used to preach from. There are 2 words used in the New Testament for hell, Hades, asar circumflex, and Gehenna, Yiwa. The Quran mentions hell, and has 7 different words for hell. Jahannam, Jahim, Sakar, Sa'ir, Hawiya, Lazah, and Hutama. This is the place that religion teaches is within the earth where human beings go, if they should be so unlucky as not to make the grade on the surface of the earth. Now, regardless to what hell is called, each religion teaches that this is the dwelling place of Leviathan, which is the sea demon. In the scriptures that your servant Moses, called in tones Moshe and in rhythm Musa, received in the scroll of Exodus the 20th degree, the 4th verse, and I quote, "You will not make for yourself any idol at all, any likeness in the skies above, or that is upon the planet Earth, or ledge inside the planet Earth, or under the waters of the planet Earth." Here the Yahuwah of the children of Israel made it clear that they were not supposed to have any other deities other than him, that reside not on the planet Earth, or not as in the skies above, or not under the waters, and this is the most important point. It says not inside the planet Earth. This is a confession on Yahuwah's behalf that there are other deities beside himself that can be worshipped if you choose to disobey, but most of all that some or at least one live inside the planet Earth. So the Torah confirms a place inside the planet Earth. That would mean Hebrews, Christians, and Muslims who accept the Torah as the word of God would have to accept this fact. And not only that, the Quran of the Muslims in the 6th degree, the 35th verse states, "And if their shunning, avoiding the fact be hard upon you, Muhammad, then if you are able to seek an odenim into the planet Tiamat, earth to Shambhala, sent of Allah, or a ladder ascending up into the sky to Malakut, so that you, Muhammad, can bring them a Siena miracle, and if it please the source, El Elo, he would gather them unto a true guidance. So don't it be of the ignorant ones." Asterisk. That is in the pure translation, but least they say it is my translation, I'll give you theirs. "If their spuming is hard on thy mind, vet if thou were able to seek a Nafakan fil ard tunnel in the ground or a ladder to the skies and bring them a sign, what good? If it were God's will, he could gather them together unto true guidance. So as found in the Quran of Allah, which to them has no doubts in it, then don't doubt in it. Don't doubt the fact that this Nafakan fil ard or tunnel into the planet Earth is to Shamballah. With those facts proven, let us speak first of Shamballah and Agartha, the real place. This palace of illumination within the earth has a central sun which is 600 miles in diameter. The inner city is called Agartha, which holds the meaning through the hole. The temple within this subterranean world is called the Golden Palace, or in Ashuric Syriac Arabic Walhalla, meaning place of illumination, or with the golden aura, which is located in the capital called Shamballah, meaning scented by Allah. Shamballah is also known as Ashara. Shambhala itself is the holy place where the earthly world links with the higher states of consciousness. In the East, they know there exists two Shambalas, an earthly and an invisible Shambhala. Many speculations have been made about the location of the earthly Shambhala. Certain indications put this place in the extreme north, explaining that the rays of the aurora borealis are the rays of the invisible Shambhala. However, the aurora borealis is simply a reflection of the central sun, also called the black sun. Shambhala is made from atoms of the 5 elements with their potentialities, projected into the center of unconditioned empty space. Some say that Shambhala is the hidden city of goodness and can be reached through meditation, while Agartha is the material subterranean realm threatening us with eruption. Nearly 6,000 years ago, the inhabitants of Hyperborean migrated to the region now covered by the Gobi Desert and there founded a new seat. People flocked from all directions to this center of the world. They enjoyed 2,000 years to this great civilization. However, another catastrophe occurred, its cause unknown. The surface of the region was devastated, but Agana survived underground. Many crafts seen by surface people that are aerodynamically built comes from various caverns beneath the planet Earth, where many beings now dwell, which one is occupied by the Earthlings and the Flugel Rods, and another by the Duwani, and another by the Greys, and another by the Duna Akil, and another by the Teros, whose cavern is close to the Duna Akil. In the past there were 8 caverns, to date there are far many more. Their aerodynamic construction is in itself a confession of their earthly origin, for intergalactical traverse need not worry themselves with aerodynamics. Shambhala is a galactical united nation, as opposed to Earth surface united nation. Shambhala has the largest library and medical library on this side of the galaxy. Shambhala has climate control. For there are no volcanoes and earthquakes, environment control implies that there is disease control, and unlike your world, there are no years, months, and days. Being that the sun is in the center of the inner world, and the planet is not moving around anything. Your planet is not a solid rock. There are three major divisions in Earth: the inner core, the outer core, and the crust, which is a very thin layer. It is 1,800 miles thick. It is called the mantle, outer core, liquid core. The outer core does not much affect the events of the Earth's surface. However, its fluid motion generates the magnetic field. Because these motion are generally latitudinal like the planetary winds, the magnetic poles tend to lie close to the axis of the rotation. Beneath your very feet is a region whose radius is 6,294 kilometers. The Earth's radius is 3,963 miles from the pyramids in Egypt today. The actual circumference of the Earth is 24,896 miles, and the diameter is 7,926 miles. When the place that you are living on, called Earth, was young, it was visited by a race of beings who came from another solar system. These beings are referred to as the Elder Gods, who with their advances in science and knowledge of DNA and RNA manipulation, the original cloned after Adam, were able to live for hundreds of years. They discovered the secret of living death, and how death is an illness in humans that can be cured if not prolonged at their weakest point to not less than 120 years. These elder beings were the Shuyuk, or the Riskians, from a planet called Rizk in the 19th galaxy of Ilyun. I am one such being sent to you. We Riskians, before settling here, lived in Arcturus Pleiades, Clarion in the Orion star constellation. We constructed bases for laboratories on Mars and the Moon, for the cloning and breeding of Adama, Earthlings. We left some of our hybrids who made their residence within Shambhala. They were called Dunakil. Many stayed, other branched off into tribes and moved nearer surface and set up their caverns. And even others went surface and mixed with surface beings and became the Dongalawi and the Danakil. Early humans that existed on Earth that time were considered them as gods. When the Riskians came here, some went beneath the earth and built a large computer, a mechanical device called mech, from where they get the word Macintosh. The original name was Al-Hisabat. The Disagreeable also built a large computer and called it simply HAL, their Earth name IBM. With these machines they could scan the surface, pick up some scenes from all over the televise them. They could project both thought and three-dimensional images, hologramic pictures and star maps, kill and destroy at will by simply flicking switches, alter the weather, create rain, hail, snow and earthquakes, create tidal waves, volcanoes, hurricanes and viruses, extract thoughts from another person's mind or implant thought into it. They were able to stimulate any emotion and cure various diseases. They also had mech, which could be used to make clothing, food and other articles. Over a period of time, the inner sun started throwing off radioactive particles, which polluted the air, breathed into the lungs, and accumulated in food and water, causing a shortening of their lifespan by increasing the aging process and causing other effects. The elders trying to escape, bored underground, hollowing out artificially or modifying already existing natural caverns. With a device similar to a laser beam, they proceeded to build larger cities with tunnels connecting them 4 to 20 miles beneath the surface. Many relocated to other planets, while yet some stayed here in their newly carved-out caverns and took some of their Hasaba computers. The same applied for the malevolent being who, when relocated, became known as the Hulub, or Flugelrods, with their massive machines called mech, also called HAL. One group of agreeable elders wanted to make these devices available to surface dwellers. However, the other group of disagreeable didn't agree because the surface dwellers were unskilled and were not able to use them correctly, while the agreeable elders said simply, let's teach them. Send people whom they call scientists, telepathically implant information and they will get the credit of invention. But this higher knowledge will prevent them from destroying planet in which we also dwell. There was an argument between the two groups, and it was decided locked away in a cavern in the earth due that surface dwellers couldn't get them. Because of the population problem, their elder race was not able to take all of their own race. The ones who were left behind began to disintegrate due to the radioactivity of the sun. After centuries had passed, because of the radioactivity and the unskilled use of the massive computers, a large amount of the brains of the other beings that were in the inner world produced a form of hereditary insanity. This group of insane cave dwellers were called Sumunian or Samin, Abandoneros, or as you know them, Deros. They are a combination of the words detrimental robots. The Sumunian really exist. They are born by hatching from eggs that are 4 to 6 feet in diameter. They grow to 7 feet and are extremely obese. The Sumerian, Deros, who lived in the caves are degenerated so much intelligence. They have 2 stomachs and their digestive system is the same as that of a cow. Deros and cows both chew the cud, meaning when cows eat, they chew their own food, and it goes through the initial stages of digestion where it reaches a large sac that is before the true stomach. The food is then regurgitated to the mouth for further chewing. This is called chewing the cud. Many people today who are obese are descendants of these Deros. I'm talking about those people who have serious weight problem, weighing over 300 pounds and more, which is not a trait of the elders. The Rizkian. The Deros have no fingernails, toenails, nipples, navel, or rectum. Their eyes are silver gray and glows in the dark. They have blonde eyebrows. Other than that, there's no hair on the body and a disease called trichotillomania, and they are responsible for the trichinosis and trichiasis disease. They have a pinkish gray color skin much like a pig or a souse, having not being exposed to the inner or outer sun. They have no teeth. Their mouth appears to be full of a gummy, slimy substance. They are nocturnal and hear extremely well. They're not very peaceful and have a strong dislike for your race of human beings. They are very human in appearance, yet far from it. Their noses are long, trunk-like, which is very similar to that of an elephant. They contend that the planet Earth will be theirs again one day. There is another group called Sunainans or Sinin, or as you know, Teros. The Sumunian, Deros were for disagreeable people, and Sunainans, Teros were for agreeable people. The Teros, which is short from integrative or constructive, are a subsurface or constructive, are a subsurface race that usually keep the Deros in check. The Teros that have an abundance of pigmentation in their skin are descendants of their elder gods from the planet Jomon in the star Arcturus in the Bootes constellation, also called plowman, herdsman. Bootes is shaped like a kite, and the Arcturus is the Bootes constellation, the red giant 4th brightest star in the heaven, where much mixing did take place. They have 48 chromosomes, and when bred with certain humans, caused a defect of 47 chromosomes, producing what is commonly called Down syndrome, as found in all races of surface people, for the Teros are a mixed race. Down syndrome is a disorder caused by chromosomal abnormalities that develop during germ cell formation. The Teros' chromosome structure is so much different than that of Earthlings that the mixture caused the disorder. Depending on the gene involved, the child may exhibit the full syndrome or show few or no effects. Chromosome 21 is the small human chromosome with no more than 1,500 genes, but the genes are of great interest for being involved in conditions ranging from cancer to Alzheimer's disease to vision problems. 1 out of every 800 children born on Earth have this trait. Because of the Teros' own planet's atmosphere, their children are usually born breathing defects as well as congenital heart disease. Being that the food of the Tero is different than the Earthlings, these children have poor digestive systems, and their immune system is unable to function properly, and they lean towards leukemia. Because they bored further into the Earth, they were able to keep their sanity because of crossbreeding. The Teros took on different forms, and others look so human they can come to the surface and not be noticed. The Teros that are lacking in pigmentation are descendants from mixing with the Flugelrods. There's also living beneath the surface of the planet Earth. Another group, called the Duanis, from which leprechauns known also as gnomes or dwarfs, and the legends of them has come. Their mixture with surface people produced dwarfism. A mixture with the Earthlings and the Duani produced defected DNA. Thus, the endocrine system produced an excess amount of hypersecretion and/or an insufficient amount of hyposecretion of the hormones. When the endocrine gland becomes overstimulated by fluids from the pituitary gland, for the pituitary gland, or known also as the endocrine gland or the hypophysis, is situated at the base of the human brain. And being the Duwani's brain is in the front of their head, this caused a problem. The pituitary is connected to the hypothalamus by a stalk, and is comprised of anterior, intermediate, and posterior lobes. The anterior lobe secreted 6 protein hormones, growth hormones which promotes body growth, prolactin which stimulates the production of milk, adrenocorticotrophin hormone which stimulate the adrenal cortex, thyroid stimulating hormone, and 2 gonatropic hormones, follicle stimulating hormones, and a luteinizing hormone. The defect in these genes was caused by a collapse of their sun in Sirius, and their release of a large amount of radiation, which damaged their glands, called glandular atrophy, and a defect in the enzymes that involve the hormone synthesis, which resulted in lower iodine and resulted in insufficient thyroid hormone. The hypothalamus and pituitary gland are closely related. that modulates the activity of the anterior portion of the pituitary through release or release inhibitor hormones, which travel through a portal venous system of the anterior pituitary. These neurohormones regulate the release of such hormones as growth hormones, and this GH deficiency leads to growth retardation or dwarfism, adrenocorticotrophin, ACTH, follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH, prolactin, luteinizing hormone, LH, and thyroid-stimulating hormone, TRH. These defects caused by a mixture of the alien blood with the human blood resulted in dwarfism as you know it today. Originally the Duanis came from Canis Major. They were the dwarfs of the star Sirius as opposed to the giant Shaggies, their opposers. They share the same planet, but they were the agreeable beings who came to Earth many millions of years ago from the Sirius star constellation. The Daros are constantly in conflict with the Duanis who hold the same faith, that they too will take over the planet one day. The Duanis look like porcupines, meaning their hair sticks straight up. This abnormality in the endocrine gland resulted in their appearance, which is called hirsutism, the covering of the body with thick hair. They master surface information and study intensely, mastering all of the finer things that the Earth's surface provides. They aspire to be like the elite of the human race, yet have no interest in coexisting with human beings on the surface who they see as killers without a purpose. They are like references on Earth, meaning they know everything that is happening on the surface of the Earth. There are caverns in the inner world that are occupied by extraterrestrials. This does not include Agartha. In the 1970 AD, 4 of the caverns were occupied and 2 of them unoccupied. Today, there are over 20 caverns, some even occupied by surface people, and hidden sacred societies, such as the Illuminati Society, who are in cahoots with disagreeable extraterrestrial and having meetings beneath the Antarctica, where various different species gather together to plot the overthrow and control of the surface. In the year 1995 AD, there is air flowing in and out of the Earth. What you people tend to forget is that the Earth is hollow and has a sun 600 miles in diameter. Nothing is solid, not even the human body. Rocks, which appear solid, all have air pockets. The caverns were there naturally. Some of them have been hollowed out by beings. The caverns are very large. Believe it or not, there is a cavern connecting to Australia and through the Atlantic Ocean. This way they don't have to come into contact with surface dwellers, which would be like you who live on the Earth. The humanoid type extraterrestrial are making shuttles to transport themselves from one place to the next. The ones that are humans have to travel in your time and space. They have to do things according to how time on Earth is governed. They have created what is called a star gateway, where they can step through and interdimensionally transport themselves. They are an advanced society by far, and have surpassed people on the surface of the Earth in technology. They use power called blast electricity, whose source is from the compression of air and its connection with electricity. This ties in with the shifting of weights, which was the secret to the building of the pyramids. They also get their power from the energy grid that surrounds the planet Earth. A grid is a network of uniformly spaced horizontal and perpendicular line, specifically one used for locating points by means of a system of coordinates. This is one of the main reasons why extraterrestrial want your planet. The magnetic field is one of the most valuable assets on your planet, because it has an endless amount of free energy. The poles of the grids were spaced at different distances from the north geometric pole, and disarrangement set up a series of geometric harmonics which were directly related to the speed of light, mass, and gravity. The interaction of the two grids created a harmonic resonance which in turn formed a third resultant grid. The theoretical position for the third grid poles on the southern hemisphere are as follows. Grid pole A equals latitude 72.4266 degrees longitude, 50 degrees west, 1054.4 minutes of arc from the North Pole. Grid pole B equals latitude 78.4266 degrees longitude, 105 degrees west, 694.4 quote minutes of arc from the North Pole resultant. Grid pole C equal latitude 75.6 degrees longitude, 97.5 degrees west, 864 minutes of arc from the North Pole. Reciprocal positions will give S-R value for the southern hemisphere. A grid is an intelligent geometric pattern into which the Earth grid is also known as the crystalline Earth. It is very ancient and has been utilized by a number of civilizations. The Earth and its energies are organized. The geometric pattern of the Earth grid is energetic in nature. The Earth's energy, organized into a precise web, was once, and can be again, the source of a free and inexhaustible supply of power, once powering older civilizations of high technological achievement. Some say that the grid is an interactive spiritual workshop for the purposes of the aligning of humans with planetary energies through the megalithic temple. The Earth grid is seen as a living hologram of the organization of the solar system, intricately linked with the life and destiny of human beings. Some of the significant features of the major grid intersections: Giza, the Great Pyramid, Cuman oil field, USSR, Lake Baikal, USSR, many unique plants and animals, Hudson Bay, present location of North Magnetic Pole, Northern British Isles, Mais Hau, Ring of Brodgar Kalanish, Mohenjo-Daro Rama Empire culture, Xi'an Pyramids, which are the largest in the world, Southern Japan Dragon's Triangle, great seismic activity, Hamakulia. Nearby lies Hawaii, scene of high volcanic and earthquake activity. The sophisticated canal civilization of Cibola, Bimini, the site of huge man-made walls underwater, discovered in 1969 AD megaliths at Axum, the Coptic Christian center in Ethiopia, Bangkok and Angkor Wat, Sarawak, Borneo, Pohnpei Island, Micronesia, site of the megalithic city on Nan Madol, Lima, Peru, boundary of the Nazca Plate, Pisco, Gabon, West Africa, Zimbabwe with its ancient mines and structures, the Maralinga Atomic Test Site, Easter Island and its megaliths, the Coral Castles, built by Ed Leeds Kalnin, location is shown as an Earth grid number 18. The west lobe is what pulled Florida down and opened the Keys area up. The east lobe is the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle of Florida, when active, is a powerful diamagnetic levitator. The center of the Earth is a special base controlled by benevolent beings, called the Duna Akil, whose original home is in Risk, which is located in the 19th galaxy called Ilyun. They settled throughout the continent of Africa, and became known as what is called today, the Dongala, or the Donogla tribe of northern Sudan, and spread as far down as northern Ethiopia, or Ether Utopia. Malevolent or negative beings are allowed to go in the cities, however they live in the caverns. Thus, are the three main races of the planet. The Flugelrods and the Daros are related to the Caucasians, the Taros are related to the Orientals, and the Dunaakil and the Duwanis are related to the Nubian in the form of Watusi and Pygmy, who bred with the Dunaakil and Duwanis, of which the great master Imhotep, who was a little person, a product of his ancestors mixing with the original Pygmy, while they went to the caverns beneath the waterfalls during the meteorite shower that took place 2,250,000 years ago, the end of the fourth sun cycle, when the Pygmies went and lived inside the great city Shambhala. These Pygmies or dwarfs were also called Azizan. The Ashanti tribe of Ghana, Africa, call them Moichia, while the Watusi went inside the caves of Europa, named after their female deity, the daughter of Agenor. There is a city within the inner earth called Rainbow City. Countless millions of years ago, humanoid greys called Rumardians, created by the Riskians, and given their freedom, came to rule an empire of planets stretching over 100 galaxies. At some point in their conquests, the ancient humans encountered the race of reptilians, which was to become then deadly enemy. The snake people and the ancients battled for 1,000 years, with the advantage passing first to one side, then to the other. However, it became clear that the snake people had won. They chased the humanoid race from planet to planet, scattering the remnants of the humanoid empire to a few lonely worlds. One of them, Mars, known as the Red Planet, was for hundreds of generations of the ancients a hospitable home. However, as time passed, the ancients realized Mars was dying, its oxygen and water were slowly evaporating into space. The great ruler of Mars sent a fleet of spaceships to Earth to investigate its potential as a new home. The scouting party returned full of praise for the planet Earth, especially the subtropical Antarctic continent. So the great ruler told several thousand of his subjects they were to leave and prepare the way on the New World. They settled in Antarctica and built 7 great cities there, modeled after the cities in Mars. Each had a distinctive color and was called the Green City, or the Blue City, or the Red City. The greatest of all was Rainbow City. It was called this because it was constructed entirely of plastic and of all colors of the rainbow. The Rainbow City sat deserted for 1,000,000 years. It alone of the 7 cities was free of ice, for hot springs beneath the city kept it and surrounding valley at room temperature. Encircled by wall of ice, then 1,000 feet high, Rainbow City has remained hidden from Antarctica explorers to this day. Since the technology of the ancients was infinitely superior to that of the surface dwellers, The city was found with all its incredible machinery running as well as it had when the city was built 2.5 million years ago. Many people don't know it, however. Plastic is a relatively new product to humans. Plastic was introduced to you no more than 50 years ago. It is one of the many things that was given to you extraterrestrial beings. There are beings that direct the crafts into the planet Earth and they go to the center of the Earth. There is a 15 miles long computer in the center of the Earth that has been reactivated in 1904 AD. This is why there is a hum in the Earth. There is a mountain called Shasta that leads to one of the caverns in the inner Earth. The mountain was named after a California tribe of Native Americans called the Shasta. The computer sends out signal to crafts coming in so that they may come into the Earth without being detected. The crafts who don't pay attention to the signals usually get shot right out of the sky by humans. There are entrances all over this planet Earth. Many are found in caves well hidden and exist in as many places on the Earth as there are on the Earth. In order to enter these caverns, you must know where the entrances are, like the polar regions. These entrances will lead you to a whole different tropical environment in such places as Peru, Brazil, Guatemala, as well as Arizona, the North and South Poles, Africa, Germany, Egypt, Himalayas, Montana. So what is hell to one is paradise to another. Shambhala and Agartha is much as a reality as Egypt and Greece. The beings that inhabit Agartha are responsible for the climatic changes that are affecting the planet Earth and the inhibitors of it. As the planet Earth known as Gaia is beginning to defend herself against the destructive surface people, such things as nature's germ warfare will take place, viruses will plague the Earth, massive earthquakes and landslides and floods, all these are signs of the times. It is imperative for the wise to return to nature and natural way of life, respecting the system of things. Then and only then will the gates of the heavens and or the gates of Shambhala be opened for your re-entry and acceptance into the great ancient family of the deities.